Hey, what's going on everybody? It's ETAPRIME back here again. Today we're going to be taking a look at a really cool mod for the ROG Ally. This is actually a brand new transparent rear shell from a company known as HandheldDIY. And this isn't just to kind of change the aesthetics of the ROG Ally, it's got a lot of functionality built in, like a rear kickstand that also dubs as a strapping system so we could actually strap a battery here. And this also offers better cooling for the ROG Ally's APU. It's got a heat plate here, and we're going to take a look at all of this. I personally really like the way this looks. They do offer it in a few different colors, and you can actually customize the nameplate. So like I mentioned, this is coming to us from a company known as HandheldDIY, and over on their website, they do offer a lot of stuff for the Ally. But right now, they've got their Indiegogo up for the Modcase, and they offer it in a few different colors. And this back stand here comes on each one of these. It'll also dub as kind of a mounting system for, let's say, an external battery. And we'll take a look at that by the end of the video. But yeah, at 30 bucks, it's not bad. It looks really good. And over on their official website, they do have flush rear buttons for the Ally that you could add with this. You'll have to order them separately. But yeah, I mean, I think it looks pretty good. And at 30 bucks, it's not a bad deal. And really, the main claim to fame here is that rear heat plate. So hopefully we can pull some more heat out of this APU, get some better performance out of it, lower temps, and we will be testing that by the end of the video. Installation is pretty straightforward, and with the Ally I have here, I have upgraded the SSD in the past, but the first thing we need to do is actually get the rear shell off. We've got 6 Phillips head screws back here that come out really easy. Now we need to pop the rear shell off. It does use a little bit of a clipping system, not too hard to get off. And with this, we will be reusing the triggers and the rear buttons to go into the new Modcase rear shell. Pretty simple to do this. When it comes to the rear buttons, we've just got this single screw with 2 little clips that kind of need to be pried. The button will pop right out. And as for the triggers, they do use 2 Phillips head screws. They're a little smaller, but it shouldn't be too much of a chore to get them out. And if we take a look at the Modcase itself, we're not just going to be screwing these down into regular plastic. We do have these strengthened posts here, which is really awesome. That's one thing I was a little worried about getting this, but yeah, we've got them here, not a problem at all. So basically, I'm just going to go ahead and line up my triggers, get those screws in, and once we've got everything together, it looks a little something like this. I mean, it's actually a really easy swap, but there's one last thing we need to do here. Now, as you can see, we do have this metal plate here. This is our new heat plate, and in order for us to extract more heat out of the stock ROG Ally's cooler, we do need to add this thick boy heat pad. And the way I'm going to do it is just set it right down on the heat plate itself, then we can actually put the rear shell on. Now, one thing a lot of people might be worried about is having the rear heat up too much. I will be monitoring the rear shell temperature, but I really don't think it's going to heat up enough to kind of burn us or anything like that. And the reason I say that is the pad we're using here does need to be thicker to make contact to the back of the stock cooler. The heat pad itself is really what's going to be absorbing most of that heat. It will disperse across the heat plate in the rear, but by the time it gets there, I'm pretty sure it's going to be cool enough. And I do have an infrared gun, so we can actually run some temperature tests while this thing is kind of at full boat. But yeah, I actually think it looks really good, and they do offer a few different colors, as we saw over on their website. And this thing fits perfectly. I mean, it's basically a 1-to-1 for the stock shell. We've just got a much cleaner look here, and we've got that built-in heat plate. And of course, we've got a kickstand built in here. Obviously, it's going to work really well. It is an aluminum kickstand, and I think it looks pretty good. Plus, it dubs as a strapping system. You get these straps here, and there's slots on the top and the bottom of the back kickstand. It's pretty cool. These just slide right in, kind of like a smartwatch would. And personally, I would go with the battery pack, but you could also strap in an external hard drive if you want to. And I've got this pretty large battery pack, which is one I use for all of my handhelds. It will charge it up to 65 watts, and it fits right in here. So it's pretty cool. You could have this on the go if you need it. And of course, the battery pack I'm using here is definitely a bit larger, but it works out really well. I can actually hold this in handheld mode, play my game, and I've got double the battery life that I would with the stock built-in battery of the ROG Ally. But now I need to do a little bit of thermal and performance testing. And to do this, I'm going to be using Cinebench R23. This is more of an extreme use case scenario. Basically, what this does is stress out all 8 cores and 16 threads, and right now I do have this set to the turbo profile. So I will be testing this with the stock backplate and the new Modcase backplate. And I also want to get an idea of how hot the back gets. So I will be monitoring it with this infrared heat gun, and I don't think it's going to get hot enough to burn you. So my testing is complete with the stock back cover and the new Modcase back cover, and it definitely looks like we kept the temps down. Remember, we're at that turbo power profile, so this does boost up to 30 watts for a certain period of time and then backs it off to 25. And through this test here, we only reached a maximum temperature of 84 degrees Celsius with the Modcase cover. Total score 13,068. And with the stock back cover, it did hit 88 degrees Celsius. We had a score of 12,892. So overall, I mean, it's definitely working. We're definitely getting lower APU temps on the ROG Ally with this rear cover. And when it comes to rear shell heat, the maximum temperature that I recorded with the Modcase was 108 degrees Fahrenheit, which is nowhere near hot enough to burn you. And going into this, I really didn't think it would be, because that heat pad is so thick. A lot of the cooling is done by the pad itself, and by the time it can get to the end of that, dispersing it to the plate in the back of the Modcase, it's just not hot enough to burn you. Overall, I personally like the look, and they do offer a few different colors. If you don't want to go transparent, you don't have to. I think it's a cool little mod. We really haven't seen that many for the ROG Ally, and it's really great to see something come to market. Like we saw, their Indiegogo is live right now, so I'll leave some links in the description. But that's going to wrap it up for this one, and like always, thanks for watching.